AITA for refusing to pay my sister's wedding expenses after she called my child a mistake. Content warning. Homophobia, cancer, death, domestic violence, murder. So, I, F32, Deanna, am the eldest of 5 siblings, and I've taken on the role of the family caretaker for as long as I can remember. I helped our parents until their passing, and, frankly, it's exhausting. Dad died of brain cancer 3 years ago, and it was heartbreaking to watch him deteriorate over time, and Mom passed peacefully overnight after a long hard battle with breast cancer earlier this year. F cancer. So as the oldest, I just sort of became the de facto parent. I don't mind as I love my siblings, and it's kind of my thing to big sister, friends and family a lot. I'm sort of a ship's counselor, and I financially help out my family. I don't mind, as I work in tech, have a side gig doing art, and inherited land and money from Mom and Dad, all that to say it's no real loss. A few years ago, I adopted my cousin's Charlie M45 child, who I will just use her nickname, Decker. My baby loves kickboxing, after my cousin went to prison for murdering the Decker's mother in an alcohol and drug-fueled rage, which is too long a story to add here. It was a chaotic year of mourning, paperwork and court hearings, but the adoption was finalized when Decker was 5. Now, she's a happy, healthy 13-year-old who calls me Mom. She's in therapy, and has been since I legally could send her as she witnessed her mother's death, and I couldn't be prouder of how resilient she is. She's my girl, my rock star, my whole heart, and I call her that, literally, my heart. Fast forward to my sister's, Clara, F30, upcoming wedding. I was thrilled for her at first, and she asked me to be MOH. I cried in joy and offered for my wife, Honey, because we like the incredible LOL, F40 and I to pay for it. Don't worry, I asked Honey first. But during a bachelorette dinner I set up, she made a hurtful comment about my daughter, calling her a mistake and saying I shouldn't have taken her in. I stared at her and asked her what she meant, and she said it wasn't like I was supposed to even have kids, as I am married to another woman, then said, no hate or anything, and laughed, but then she doubled down that Decker is likely damaged and a handful. Guys, Decker is the sweetest child alive. I mean, she is a teen, so yeah, sometimes she can get challenging or rebellious here or there, but when I say she is my whole heart, I mean it. She made us a family, and made our house a home. She smiles easy, cries openly, and has the emotional intelligence I wish I had myself. She always asks, how are you doing, and she really means it, willing to listen to people. But she's a damaged mistake. I felt like a character in a dark, twisted episode of a sci-fi show. Defending my choice to adopt felt like fighting the Borg, like I just wouldn't assimilate. I didn't laugh it off with my sister and her friends. I just stared at her in pure disbelief. I think she knew I was hurt because she quickly changed the subject. I said I better get home, paid for everything and 3 more rounds, and went home to my family. My sister came over the next day to yell at me for leaving and cutting them off after the 3 rounds I paid for. She said I owe her a do-over for ruining the whole weekend because I can't take a joke. Honey, who I of course told what happened, asked my sister to repeat exactly what she said about our daughter. My sister refused, and kept calling Decker Charlie's child, and I just was holding back so many tears. I told my sister that I wouldn't be contributing a dime to her wedding expenses, that I won't stop helping her pay her rent until she moves in with her husband, but I won't be in or pay for the wedding of a person who sees my child as a mistake. Honestly, I was ready to go full-on Jedi and sever that connection, but Honey helped me temper myself. My sister lost it, threw the can of soda water we gave her at me, screamed, how am I supposed to pay for this? And I said, you have over a year, you can save up. So left, shoving Honey out of the way in the process, and blew up our sibling group chat. My other siblings are split. Some think I'm overreacting with cutting off funds for the wedding, while others agree that my sister crossed a line and needed the wake-up call. Now, I feel bad for my sister. I do love her and she is distressed by this, but I can't shake the feeling that standing up for my daughter is more important. AITA for refusing to pay for her wedding after that? I am adding this in edit. I've been working on my work project at a local brewery and have been silently sobbing in reading the comments. Also, wow, so many comments. I was trying to reply to everyone, but I honestly ran out of steam. I sent this post to my wife and also just bracing myself to talk to Decker tonight. We want to ask her if her aunt has done or said anything cruel to or about her. I am wishing hard that she's just confused by our questions and remains oblivious of this shitstorm. I love my heart. I want her to always remain the bright, fun, loving, encouraging person she is. I don't want her to know anything about what her aunt has said. I texted my sister if she meant this, if she really sees me, my wife, and our daughter that way, or was she just drunk and stupid and doubled down in embarrassment. That said, I don't want her near Decker anytime soon. I feel so lost. I wasn't planning on ever being a parent and there is no manual for this. What the F do I even do? Wish me luck for tonight. I will need it because if Decker tells us her aunt has been cruel to her face, I will have to hold my wife back from swinging on my sister. Comments. If your sister couldn't afford her own wedding, then she shouldn't be a homophobic child-hating monster. Decker didn't ask to witness her mother be murdered, or for her sperm donor to be a murder, but frankly that doesn't seem to be the core issue. The core issue is that your sister is homophobic. She wholeheartedly believes that only the most broken, unwanted, irredeemable child could end up with lesbians for parents, likely seems to think that all the straight couples rejected Decker first, as if that's how it even works. Decker being raised by you and Honey is what's wrong. She's insulting you and your wife by insinuating there's no way lesbians could raise a healthy functional child. This is an attack on your marriage and sexuality as much as it's an attack on Decker herself. If she hates lesbians to the point she wholeheartedly believes they shouldn't be parents, then why would she even want your money? If she despises you for your sexuality, does she even love and respect you? If she claims that she loves you despite your sexuality, call her out for being homophobic. NTA. Comment. Exactly. Why do you even pay her rent? She can work. Or move in with her fiancé now. After showing her true face I would not give her a dime, she is horrible. NTA naturally. Comment. NTA. I am surprised you did point out that the only mistake I have made was to think you were a loving aunt and sister. She does not see you as a person, she sees you as money. I bet she is upset you adopted your girl because now how will she inherit anything? She said you shouldn't even have a child, like I never could have wanted to adopt, or maybe you or your wife wanted a donor sperm. No, she thought because you married a woman you would never have kids, then your money would be given to her and your other siblings. Oh, I never considered that, but, yeah, we were child-free and glad of it before we got our girl. But I do remember when the adoption was complete, we had a full party, a sort of adoption day, and we celebrate that anniversary every year. It's coming up soon. And I talked of never thinking I would change my will, but I did. I wanted to be sure if I got hit by a bus or somehow Final Destination, and something terrible happens to Honey, there is a trust and funds for Decker to be physically okay, housed, clothed, etc., and there is even a fund for her therapy up until she is 25. She gets our house, and our cabin. She gets almost everything. Of course my siblings would get things but less now that we have Deck. If that's the reason my sister resents my child, then there is some house cleaning I need to do. Update. Honey and I took Decker out to the local Oktoberfest celebrations. She had a blast, did crafts, danced to music, had beer, it was not beer, in a pint glass, and generally had a great time. On the ride home my wife broached the long-awaited topic. We asked her how she felt about Grandma's passing, then went into how everyone handles things differently. We asked if Mama, me, or Mommy, Honey, ever was hurtful, and she named a couple moments we'd been snappy or wouldn't let her do things, like a party at 2 a.m. But no, nothing else. We asked about Clara and she got quiet. Honey just looked at me, but I was driving, so I just said, "You can tell us anything, Goober, you know that," and she clammed up. I got my girls home and hugged my heart/Decker and went to the den. About 2 hours later my wife came downstairs to me and said Decker is in bed but not asleep and I should talk to her. I asked why and she simply said that Decker is willing to talk about it. I went up. Decker was ready for bed, in her PJs, reading. I just sat down on the side of the bed and asked her how she was. She just said, "Mom told you, huh?" I told her I didn't know anything and Decker then said that Clara makes her uncomfortable and said hurtful things. When my wife and I weren't around, Clara would call her the lost puppy, or the stray, and once Decker remembers her to have told her to her face, "You're not real family," and that once Honey and I get a real child, we will dump her. I can't explain the rage. The absolute, total, and complete red I saw as my daughter broke down telling me that she behaves so well and is so obsessed with grades so she can prove she is worth loving, worth keeping. After calling my wife we sat her down and told her that she is the best thing that ever happened to us and that even if we do have more children, she is our firstborn and our love. I cried and held her telling her she was my whole heart and that nothing will ever change that. She saved us, and I am so proud of her and us and all we've grown to become. I can't ever stop loving her. Neither can her mom. We love her more than air. That will never change. Then I explained that Auntie was wrong for this. Auntie is jealous of her. Jealous of how much we love her. Auntie needs help but we can't give that help so she won't be around for a while. Decker asked us to stop talking to her like a child, so I was blunt. She's my sister and I love her. You're my daughter and I love you more. I told her my sister was wrong and hateful. I'm sorry that she didn't feel she could come to her mom or I. But she can. Every time. Anytime. We will choose her. Always. Decker asked me if it's her fault I hate Clara and I just told her that hate is a choice and I don't hate Clara. I do love her. But sometimes loving a person means you correct them. Actions have consequences. My daughter got quiet and handed me her phone and Clara had been texting her awful things since she left my home. I can't even type them because I want to throw things, but it's when I read my sister texting my teenage daughter, "Go tell your so-called mom like a snitch and prove me right." I took a screenshot and texted it to myself. Decker fell asleep around midnight and my wife and I went to bed. I texted my sister the screenshot and said, "You come into my home as my sister and treat my child like this? No. Mom and Dad would be ashamed of you. This is not how you treat any child. Let alone your own niece. I have loved you since as long as I can remember. I know you were not raised to treat children so terribly. But as of now, you are not accepted in my home. You will not speak to or contact me, my wife, or my child. I will give you the money for October, Clara, but November on? That's your responsibility. I am no longer going to help. I'm sorry. This breaks my heart. But you crossed a serious and unforgivable line. Decker is my daughter. I am her mom. Do not doubt me here, and I want to be clear, if you ever come sideways at my family again, or contact my daughter at all, I will take legal recourse. From today on, we are in low contact. If you try to make this into a bigger issue, it will be no contact. If you don't understand, here are resources to help spell it out. I love you, D. Comment. I would also send the screenshots to your other siblings so they can see what your sister is sending to an innocent child. Comment. Absolutely. Sunlight disinfects. Let everyone have the real details on how their sister gets off on terrorizing their niece. Let Clara have to own her actions in the light of day. Let the people who supported Clara explain to everyone else why what she told the child is all right. Comment. She should also send it to the fiancé so he knows exactly what type of woman he's about to marry. Comment. Why the hell are you giving her money for October? That 30-year-old bitch is bullying a traumatized teenage girl. She doesn't deserve a penny and she needs to pay for this and you're rewarding bad behavior. Clara deserves to rot for treating a child like that. WTF is wrong with her. Well done for setting boundaries. Comment. This. Coupled with her homophobia in the first post, and literally tormenting a child, I'd go full scorched earth. You gave her a warning last time and she didn't hear it. In fact, she doubled down and attacked your child directly. I wouldn't give her a dime.